It's free agency, and it's going to be costly.
Get that stuff out of here. It's Southwest Bias.
Welcome into another edition of Southwest Bias, brought to you by our friends at the Husband and Wife Law Team. If you've had a serious accident, call the Husband and Wife Law Team first at 602-783-8841 or visit their website in the link in our show notes and tell them PHNX sent you. And we are live from Studio K, brought to you by our friends at Circle K. Make sure to become a member of the Inner Circle today for free by downloading that Circle K app and save money on food, on beverages, and on gas. And who couldn't use that this summer? We've talked about the big move the Suns made. We can continue to hash that out once we have a press conference that's coming up. But we're to another day that I love in the NBA calendar. We talked about draft day. We talked about the season opener. That's always a favorite of mine. But free agency day, legal tampering, which is the dumbest thing in all of sports, that you can either tamper or you can legally have a conversation. You can't legally tamper. That just makes no sense, but that's what we're entering, is that legal tampering period for the NBA, where there's about 5 or 6 days that NBA teams that can negotiate with free agents and come to terms in principle on a deal. And you know what's my favorite part of this day is within 2 minutes of 3 p.m. today, when this all starts, we will get teams have agreed in principle with so-and-so on a deal, which means these agents work pretty damn fast, or they were illegally tampering just 12 or 24 hours ago with that. But when it comes to the Suns, we're sitting here and we're trying to figure out, where does the roster stand? We saw the trade over the weekend. Royce O'Neal and Grayson Allen are no longer Suns. There's one open roster spot. Now let's take a look at the cap sheet here. It's a lot of numbers, but you're going to get a feel for exactly where the Suns stand. We have Booker, Green, Bridges, Brooks, Williams, Gillespie, Malawach, Goodwin, Highsmith, Pete, Dunn, Bouye, Iguodaro, and Fleming. That is your roster where it stands at the moment. 14 out of 15 slots are taken. Granted, we've talked about Highsmith and Bouye all can be cut at some point before January with little to no penalty to open up additional roster spots. You look at this, in total, it's about $208 million. Suns are hard capped at that $222 million second apron. So they have some wiggle room here. They have the ability to make a few moves. There's not going to be anything seismic unless they make another trade that can open up things. I don't foresee that, but then again, did we foresee a handful of things that came this offseason? Maybe a little bit, but we know that there's always room for things to change. But people look at it and they go, okay, well, you've got the taxpayer mid-level exemption, $6.1 million that you can offer out there as part of this. And they go, well, you need to get a Grayson Allen replacement. I'm going to tell you this. You're not getting a Grayson Allen replacement. You have your Grayson Allen replacement on the roster, and you paid him last weekend. That's Colin Gillespie. He's going to play the role of a secondary ball handler, an offensive initiator, and a guy that hits threes on the regular. That's the archetype of Colin Gillespie. That's what you were using Grayson Allen for when he was healthy. So Gillespie is the guy that slides into that primarily. What you're looking for is a shooter that can help space the floor and or somebody that has that dog mentality that you need. A guy that will fit that and go out there and add to that guard group. I don't think they're going after size. We looked at that cap sheet. Really, your power forward spot is now Bridges and Fleming. You have the three-headed monster at center that I think you'll be working with. That power forward spot also, Dylan Brooks, we saw, can slide into that in smaller lineups if necessary. And if you want to go really small, we know Jordan Goodwin can slide into that. I think you're done playing the size game. You're now looking at what kind of guard/wing help can we get here for shooting. And look, these aren't going to be names that are shocking. We've heard them. A friend of the program, John Gambadoro's mentioned them on Twitter. A bunch of people have. I'm not breaking news with you. I'm simply giving you my thoughts when it comes to the guys that I think will be available with a chance to help this team. And look, there's three that stand out that I think will have a potential to be in the discussion at the price point that you are shopping with right now. Guys that could be realistic, that could fit a need, that could fit that mold that we talked about. First, for me, is Luke Kennard, a career 44% three-point shooter. Over his last 5 seasons, a 46% three-point shooter. He's 30 years old, so he would become, I believe, the oldest guy on your roster, because right now it's Dylan Brooks and Devin Booker. He would become the oldest guy on your roster, which 30, let's be honest, not that old in NBA years. He's 6'5", 206 pounds. He has a little bit more size than some of the guards that you're working with. Obviously not Devin Booker, but other guys that you're working with there. He can catch and shoot. That's his bread and butter. That's what he's going to do. He's going to go out there and he's going to be that 9th, 10th man on the roster that'll let it fly for you, hopefully hit a few three-pointers that'll help you out along the way, and that'll be that. Like, this is not a guy that's going to change a huge amount other than give you additional spacing for the people that you have on the list, on the floor with you. And that is a primary concern right now. You have a lot of guys that are good at iso ball, a lot of guys that can hit a mid-range, a handful of guys that can get to the rim. Like, that's what you have on this roster right now. That is not going to get it done unless you get a floor spacer or two as well on this. I see our guy A-Trap, one of the bias in the chats, is Sexton and Shamet. Shamet actually just signed a 3-year deal to return to the Knicks, so he's off the list. He would have been kind of a dark horse, maybe break glass in case of emergency kind of guy. But the other guy you mentioned here, Colin Sexton, is a guy that I have a lot of interest in. He's smaller. He's 6'3", he's 190 pounds. He is younger, though, 27 years old. Not as good of a three-point shooter as Luke Kennard. He is a career 38.9% three-point shooter, but did shoot 40% on 4 attempts last year between Charlotte and Chicago, his 2 stops, and he averaged 15.4 points, 3.6 assists, 2.3 rebounds. He's going to do more than just necessarily space. I think he can get to the rim for you. We saw it in his stops in Cleveland and what he's able to do, the Charlotte and Chicago last year. He's a hustle, heart shooting, and solid defense kind of guy. What does that sound like? That sounds like the exact blueprint of the guards that the Phoenix Suns have and have in the room. That's why I think he's extremely intriguing, that they'll seriously consider him. My guess is this might be a guy that slowly gets out of that taxpayer mid-level exemption range. That's $6 million. I think maybe he gets more lucrative offers. It's going to come down to, does he want to play in Jordan Ott's system? And if I'm not mistaken, I believe he was with Jordan Ott in Cleveland for a little bit of time. I'd have to go double check the dates on that. So there may be the connection there as well. So there's opportunity certainly to entice him. And then kind of at the bottom of the list, you go, okay, well, if I can't get Colin Sexton, can I get older Colin Sexton at 34-year-old Jordan Clarkson, who played an interesting role in New York last year as part of their championship team. And as the contact Stephen Priggian-Gardner was telling me right before the program, he said, look, I saw him play more defense in New York than I ever saw in my life. So you got that going for you. We know that he can play some defense. I think he's kind of the, if you strike out or can't afford these other guys, I think Jordan Clarkson is the kind of guy that I want. I know as one of our bias in the chat mentioned, Melton was another name. DeAnthony Melton was thrown out there. Injuries, his poor shooting from deep last year. I believe he shot 29% last year when he was on the court. That one I'm a little bit more hesitant on. Much better defensively, but I got Jordan Goodwin to be that defensive guard as well. So those are the three that I'm looking at. And I keep going back, if I'm just being honest with you, between Kennard and Sexton. I look at Kennard and I go, that is a guy that has one specific thing he'll go out there and do and accomplish it for you. He will hit the three if you get him open looks. And that is extremely intriguing for a roster, like I said, that does not have a lot of that right now. Colin Gillespie is by far the best three-point shooter on your roster right now. And that's the reality of it. So what are you looking at? What could you get? That's why I consider Luke Kennard. But then I look at Colin Sexton and I go, this guy can do so much more than just shoot the three. And he does that very well. But then he can get to the basket. He has that defensive edge. We know he can score. And when you look at that, and I talked about this on the program yesterday from the undisclosed walk-in closet in Mesa, that I look at it and I feel that they have done a lot of things that provide flexibility with this roster, give you an opportunity to make a move down the road. Colin Sexton as a piece makes me wonder, okay, if you do decide that Jalen Green isn't that guy, can he fill some of that role if you move on from Jalen Green at some point in this year? I don't think it happens this offseason, but again, crazy things are happening in the NBA. The NBA essentially, it feels like, had a kegger about 3 days ago and went, let's go hog wild. This is just going to be the craziest party that we've ever had this offseason with all the movement. So I won't say no, but I'm not feeling that it's going to be likely this offseason. But Colin Sexton would give you that ability to consider moving on at some point from Jalen Green and getting some of the things that Jalen does well at a lower price point. Not everything and not as well as he does it, but it would give you another option, flexibility. They're like a yoga instructor right now. It feels like they're just focusing on how do we get more flexible day in, day out with this roster. So I go back and forth on the two. I think Colin Sexton is probably the better value if you can get him at the $6 million. But if you get Luke Kennard, I'm all right with it. You get enough of what you're looking for there from the three-point shooting that I think he can have a serious impact on this. I want to see the Suns act fast, though, because if you can get your guy right away, that makes it easier to look at, are there other moves on the peripheral? Are there other things that we can get involved with? Do we want to make another trade? Do we cut Jamari Bouye and chase another guy that might be available? Once you get this done, you can look at those other subsequent moves and consider it. So right now, I think Colin Sexton is where I'm leaning and what he can provide and how dynamic he can add with that bench. I know there were a lot of questions from bias about Kobe Bryant. I think he will get his opportunity. I think he is considered part of their plans, but I don't feel like they're ready for him to be that yet. We've talked about it on PHNX Suns that he has one thing that is really NBA ready in that shooting. What are the other things? Can he get there on a couple other skills there? And Sexton, has some passing ability. Again, not his primary function, not exactly his what he's known for, but he has that ability as well. The Suns had question marks coming into this offseason. Addressed some of them, but in turn created new ones. And today, with free agency starting, it's time to answer some of those additional questions by finding somebody that can shoot and maybe do a little bit more for you. But maybe that's just my Southwest bias. We welcome in the freckled Mamba behind the desk. It's the one, the only, Ayrton. Ayrton, how are you, my friend?
Doing good. This is an NBA holiday, if you will.
It should be. If I didn't work here, I'd consider taking the day off.
I think this is a great one to take off.
I'm
Just
such a
scrolling
huge
Twitter
fan
all
of it.
day, seeing what happens, thinking about what's happening, seeing where LeBron's going to go. Who knows?
And Regelio, I believe that is in the chat, is asking, is LeBron realistic? No. I even checked in on him. No. I know everybody's like, but Clut. No.
Not even
really.
a little bit?
No,
Just
not
a
even
little
a little bit. Not even a little bit. I think it would be more likely that he takes an NIL deal to go to the University of Arizona than it is to be there. So, that's the reality of it. But when you look at what they have in front of them, what they're trying to do, what do you see as something that you'd like them to go after this afternoon and the subsequent days of free agency?
I think we're aligned on our beliefs and who they should go after. I think Colin Sexton and Luke Kennard are both the top targets, 1A and 1B. To me, I think getting Luke Kennard would give Colin Gillespie a little bit of relief in the shooting, because I think you're losing just a lot with Grayson Allen. That was the first thing that I thought about, was just like Colin Gillespie's going to go from a playmaker to coming off of these screens, getting like primary shots off of the 3-point line. So I think getting Luke Kennard would be an awesome fit. He'd obviously fit well in a similar Grayson Allen role. And then, I mean, Colin Sexton is just a dog. So obviously he'd fit.
Do you, I look at it, I'm going to be greedy. Why not both? Can you convince Luke Kennard, look, let's take the vet minimum and come here and maybe next year, wink, wink, there might be a little bit more for you? Like in a perfect world, could you imagine getting Sexton and you get Luke Kennard, and then you go, okay, this offseason looks it makes a lot more sense, at least on paper, from a basketball perspective.
I mean, that would 100% be a perfect world. I think we'd probably see a lot more trees planted around the Phoenix area, if you know what I mean. If that's the case, I don't think it can happen.
Can I pitch a bad nickname?
I'm here, ready.
I was talking to myself yesterday on the show, and I didn't have a producer. I've got to ask, do you think if we get Sexton and Book on the floor together, I mean, we know what they called him and Garland in Cleveland. Could we call them the Karma Sutra? Okay, do you like it? I saw a laugh back there.
I think that was a lot better than where I thought that was going to go. And I
wasn't going to go for the cheap joke.
Yeah,
I went. You got to think about that one a little bit.
That one's pretty deep rooted. I think that's a little better than the low hanging fruit that you could have grabbed there.
Let's go get something this afternoon. A big welcome to all the bias in the chat. Hit that like button. I tell you all the time, you guys are the co-host of this program. I love having you here. I love talking with you, and and I want to read some comments. And the first one I'm going to start with is, I'm a dude, 8224. Bro, that's creepy, LOL. I didn't say it was good. I'm workshopping, right? I mean, in Cleveland, they called him and Garland sex land. So, like, it's at least better than that. We can avoid that, though. We'll be honest here. Connor, great to have you. Michael, N-Stacker, Schaff, and we've got our favorite Kara in the chat as well. Deborah there. Also appreciate each and every one of you. Buddha here as well. Each and every one of you being here as well. And we've got some things I want to read here. As Connor says, if the Suns don't go after the best player in NBA for free agency, then what's the game plan? Well, we went over it, shooting. You don't have the money to go after the best person in there for sure. So, and Connor says, I was very disappointed that Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal got traded, but that's the kind of chemistry the Suns can build with Miles Bridges. Let's see. Look, it's all right. You should feel a way about losing Grayson and Royce. They were great in terms of, for the community, being fan favorites, going out there and giving everything they have. There's nothing wrong with feeling a little down when guys get traded, for sure. And that's a big thing that I appreciate. Kara says, free agency, let the games begin. Yes, please. And then Abdemus Prime says 4 hours until free agency officials. So I would take Sexton or Luke Kennard, or both would be great for sure. Look at that. And he also says Gregory cooking with what he did to work with, especially Bradley Beal's dead money screwing us over till 2030. We've talked about how well they've done backing themselves out of that corner. HR1 says, Kobe Brea, why is nobody bringing up this kid? He can shoot. I agree, and I think he will get his opportunity to do that. I think he will get a chance at some point, especially if there are any injuries, to do that for sure. I think that would be it. Nefarious Mex says Colin Sexton should be their prime target. I agree on that front. And All Glory, too, says Kennard, the better shooter role player, but Sexton does a lot more besides shooting. 100%. And again, I think it gives you flexibility if you go about that. Kara's ready for Summer League. I'm glad I don't have to go spend any time in Vegas this summer. I will say that. As well, CJ wants to know, hey, are we going to get Luke Kennard? I don't know. We'll tell you at about 3:05 today, maybe, on the PHNX Sun Show. They'll be live there. Books Journey 1 suggests calling them the graphic novel. I like that one, too. I like that one a lot, too. We've got that going. We'll have to come up with something for him and Gillespie. They'll probably be spending more time together. Bill says, unless I missed it, tell us about your cap. They're $208 million. They're hard capped at $222. They've got the taxpayer mid-level exemption that's worth $6 million that they can use. That's where you sit right now. That's the reality of it. And yeah, Bradley Beal, who apparently is going to go play in Miami, still getting paid, if that's what you were getting at as well. HR1 says, my concern with Sexton is that he gets downhill, and if the defense cuts him off, he doesn't really have a good decision-making in those tight spots. That also sounds like some guys on the roster. So maybe he fits in exactly what they're doing. Thank you to all of you being here in the chat. Buddha says, right at the buzzer here, if we sign Bradley Beal again, would we be able to work a deal where he can take all his dead money off the books? Unfortunately, no. That'd be nice. I was hoping if he retired, it would go away, and found out that's not the case either. So enjoy Miami and not playing basketball is the likely outcome there. Big thank you to all the bias being here. Hit that like button. 120 of you in here. Let's get those likes up to 60 before the end of the program. Tap that thing like it's a Lakers fan that just insulted you, even though that they're losing LeBron James and they ain't getting anything out of it. All right, so do that as well. Hit that join button or hit subscribe button. If you've done both of those things, pat yourself on the back, do a little dance, look yourself in the mirror and say, damn, I'm a good member of the bias. And if you're so inclined to hit that join button, become a Supporters Club member today. $5 a month going to get you that cool little badge next to your name. Unlock exclusive emojis. Throw some of those in the chat. If you're already a Supporters Club member, you're also going to get a free super chat each month and so much more. So do that. On the other side of the break, who's the best free agent ever? We'll talk about it. Mark and Alexis Breyer, the husband and wife law team. If you've had a serious accident, you are going to need an attorney that fights for you. And Mark and Alexis Breyer and the husband and wife law team are exactly that. Phoenix is their hometown. They care about this place and the people in it. This is where they raised their kids and they believe in this community. And let's face it, when you have a serious injury in an accident, you want to hire an attorney that's focused on your best outcome and not how much money that they're going to put in their pocket. And the husband and wife law team gives you that guarantee that you will walk away with as much in your pocket as they do in theirs, even if they have to reduce their fee to make sure it happens. That's how much they believe in taking care of you. And their team brings hundreds of years of experience combined in trial law. And that's what you want. You want to know that if you have to go to trial, you have the best team behind you, and they're certified specialists in injury and wrongful death cases. So if you've had a serious injury, call the husband and wife law team first at 602-783-8841 or visit their website in our show notes and tell them PHNX sent you. And from the windows to the walls and the countertops and the flooring and everything else that you can find in your home, Window Depot has you covered. And look, we know it is hot outside, and we know that is not going away until probably October. Let's just be honest. And if you're in a home that's an older home here in the state, you can feel that it's kind of getting hotter each summer in your house. And no, that's not exactly because of what's going on outside. That's because of your windows. And with the Window Depot, you can replace those windows. They've got the biggest inventory at the best prices, guaranteed. You can lower your energy bill, cool your house a little bit more with better windows, and they've got those in stock for you to get. So shop online and pick up in store. Browse and order directly at thewindowdepot.com. With real-time access to in-stock products at your nearest location, get what you need when you need it with the Window Depot, and get a little cooler this summer. And look, you like to root for your hometown teams. You love to do that. So why wouldn't you want to have a banking institution that is rooted in Arizona? One AZ Credit Union is just that, and they're invested in you because their mission is to help Arizonans just like you live better financial lives, and who could not benefit from that? Whether that means buying a new car, which I just went through that process, starting a business, which we did 5 years ago here, or planning for what's next, like my daughter's college that's coming up in not too long of the future. 1AZ is part of the community, and they are proud to be celebrating 75 years of dedicated service to Arizona. They are old enough to be my parent. And with 25 branches here in Arizona and an online banking app, you can access your money easier. So for a limited time only, open a new checking account and complete qualifying activities to earn $350 in member bonuses. Use that code CHK-358. That's CHK-358. Terms and conditions apply. Visit 1azcu.com for all the details. A big thank you to Lisa Loeb for playing halftime. If you are a 90s nerd that happened to not have great music taste, you know exactly who I'm talking about. If you aren't, you have zero clue. But I still appreciate her playing halftime. And I got to tell you, if you were enjoying the World Cup, and who couldn't have after yesterday's games, we've got some watch parties coming up just for you starting tonight. It's going to be at Backyard Desert Ridge. It's Mexico versus Ecuador. Thank you. Two countries I can actually pronounce the names of, brought to you by Buchanan's, Casamigos, Don Julio, and Michelob Ultra. Come join us tonight out there. And then that's starting at 6 p.m. And then tomorrow, the big USA matchup versus Bosnia and Herzegovina, which I didn't know that two countries could come together to play on one team, but apparently they can. They'll be playing at 5 p.m. out at Backyard Desert Ridge. Join us again. Thanks to our friends at Buchanan's, Casamigos, Don Julio, Michelob Ultra. Go to gophnx.com/events to get everything that you need to know and RSVP. By the way, I have to address Billy. He says, "I'm sorry, I meant tell us about the cap you're wearing, not the Suns cap." This is actually from a Mercury game. I got this bad boy at a Mercury game, and I truly love it. And I still don't understand why Phoenix is upside down, outside of the fact that it's probably we're in distress because we can't win a championship on any side of that. So thank you for that. Mohammed saying, Kuminga will go for 8 to 10 million a year. We can afford that. Technically not, especially if you're trying to get a shooter. I think that ship has sailed when it comes to Jonathan Kuminga. One thing I want to do before we get out of here. Free agency got me thinking, who is the greatest free agents of all time that the Phoenix Suns have signed? I love to call this my fave five. All right, that's what I love to call it. I'm going to make some graphics. I'm going to make our graphics team work. We're going to call this our fave five. And my favorite five, when it comes to free agency in Suns history, number 5, Ricky Rubio. And people go, well, they didn't win anything with Ricky. Ricky helped change the culture that bubble year. Ricky showed with a certain kind of guy, Devin Booker could take that next step. Without Ricky Rubio, there is no Chris Paul in my mind coming here to the Valley. Without Chris Paul, there is no finals appearance. We all can agree on that. So number 5, free agent Ricky Rubio is big. Number 4, Grant Hill. Grant Hill, big name, huge star in the 90s, was coming off of a gruesome ankle and foot injury that happened in Orlando. Nobody thought that he was actually going to amount to much, and guess what? He played 82 games one season, 81 another, helped the Suns team make a surprise run at the end of Nash's run at the 7 seconds or less years to the Western Conference Finals in 2010, and a hell of a guy as well. Got to know him while covering him with the Phoenix Suns. So good on him. Goran Dragic, number 3. If you believe the the lore of this, he was not going to be the guy they were going to sign. Raymond Felton was the guy the front office wanted, and then the disgraced former owner was the guy that went to the parking garage before Goran could leave and got him to sign a contract. The one thing I agree with that he did in his tenure, Goran Dragic went on to win Most Improved Player, led a 48-win team, and also was a fan favorite as well. Number 2 on the list, and this might upset some people, he was the original free agent, the first of all time. 1988, he signs with the Phoenix Suns as the first unrestricted free agent in league history. Tom Chambers not only broke the mold and made the Suns a footnote in NBA history forever because of that, but he also helped the Cotton Express reach levels that they hadn't seen in the early 90s, was part of that 93 finals run. Tom Chambers, number 2 on the list, but you all know who's probably number 1, right? Number 1's got to be the 2-time MVP, one Steve Nash, who, Mark Cuban admits the biggest mistake he ever made was letting him walk away, and not for a very large contract back in 2004. Nash comes here, 7 seconds or less is born. He wins 2 MVPs, has a hell of a run there. Steve Nash, number 1 on that list. And before we get out of here, happy 5th anniversary to the Suns Western Conference Final championship game, where they won the whole thing, the Western Conference, against the Clippers 5 years ago tonight, 2021. Happy anniversary to them. Big thank you to the Freckled Mamba behind the desk, Ayrton. You can follow him at Freckled Mamba. You can follow the show for now at PHNX_sports. You can follow me at Espo. And remember, free agency starts in a handful of hours. Get excited. Ahoy, hoy.
We all silly like the mayor.